Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Atlantis Milo's Return. Now, as you know, Atlantis Milo's Return is a 2003 animated science fiction film and was pretty much pitched episodes from the abandoned TV series that would have featured Milo, Keter, and the others going on all sorts of adventures, dealing with things from Puck, the Loch Ness Monster, and also the Terracotta Warriors. And I think it would have been an awesome idea. It would have shown other mystical creatures and other connections to Atlantis. And I think it's a shame too. It showed you that the Team Atlantis TV series could have been a pretty awesome idea. And yeah, there was even meant to be a sequel called Atlantis Shards of Chaos that just never happened. So the premise of the film is meant to feature how some time had passed. We see how Keter and the rest of the Atlanteans have carefully rebuilt Atlantis. We see how Mr. Whitmore, Audrey, Mole, Sweet, and the others need Milo and Keter's help in kind of uncovering other things that have been going on around the world. So of course, we kind of see how at first, in the first one, having to kind of deal with a kind of Lovecraftian horror in a sort of Norway-like village, we even do see how they go to the Old West and learn about more cultures that were linked to Atlantis, and the final one dealing with a sort of deranged madman known as Eric Hellstorm, who now thinks he's Odin. And I think it really is a good idea, and again, this really could have showed you what we could have gotten. And if you look at one of the deleted scenes in the film version of this, you do see how one of the residents holds their child and says how they'll be big and powerful. And if you've watched the sort of deleted scene on YouTube, it shows you that the child is actually the child of the same Lovecraftian horror that terrorized the village. So implying that the innkeeper in the film, Inga, is actually the bride of the Lovecraftian horror, and her sort of telling the child that it will now be the bigger fish in the pond. And I think it's a shame that Team Atlantis could have been a really good idea. Again, it would have showed other cultures, other connections from Atlantean culture, and having more time with Keter to sort of start to kind of learn and understand that maybe there were some things for the best. And you can really tell in the film that Keter is trying to kind of decide that if her father's decisions were for the best. And you could kind of tell that his father did want to do the right things, and you could tell there was a reason he was a bit cautious, why he didn't want to make similar mistakes. And I think, yeah, I know a lot of people say that, yeah, this does feel like a Scooby-Doo series, but the way I kind of see it is just basically Milo and the gang from the first film dealing with things and other connections from Atlantis and the sort of technology and that left from it after the events of when it sank down. And you could really tell they were trying to put a lot more effort into this, trying to show you what they could bring. And I kind of think as well, yeah, I can understand that having James Arnold Tyler to voice Milo made sense, because yeah, you could kind of tell, yeah, that James Michael Fox was probably busy on other films, so I think James Arnold Tyler really does try to sound almost like what Milo would do. And I kind of think it's a shame that, yeah, the Team Atlantis show could have been pretty interesting, as it's like looking at, say, The Legend of Tarzan, as the point of Legend of Tarzan was meant to show Tarzan being the leader. It was meant to have him have difficult trials as well as tests to prove that he could be the leader for the gorillas. The way I could have seen Team Atlantis is showing how Keter would come to the decision if Atlantis really should be brought back. And you can kind of tell that she is starting to kind of have second thoughts and even start to kind of be amazed with the surface world. And I kind of think, yeah, like I said, I think Disney do make a lot of costly mistakes. Like the Owl House, when they sort of cut down season 3 into 3 specials, or it's like Star Wars with the Clone Wars, only doing a 7th season and not season 7, 8 that was intended. Or it's kind of like looking at the Marvel shows, making them too kid friendly. It showed you that Team Atlantis could have been a good idea, but I get it, the ending had to be rewritten. And yeah, since Atlantis, the Lost Empire, wasn't successful, you could kind of tell they had to kind of lighten the load. But I think to me is that, yeah, Atlantis 2, Milo's Return, is a kind of okay film. I think if they stuck with the whole Team Atlantis TV show, this really could have been a really good idea. But I think in the end, it deserves thumbs in the middle. Well, it's not a bad idea. It showed you what we could have gotten if they stayed on the same boat. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.